Hi everybody, Malice here with another video, and this video is part 1 of what I think of the recently released Imperial Agents Codex that Games Workshop released very recently. So let's get into it. Now, on the whole, as an army to play in of itself, I don't think it's really that. In games bigger than incursion size, so round about 1,000 points or so. Anything above that, some of the glaring weaknesses about dealing with certain things such as vehicles, cracking heavy armour, that sort of thing, come a bit more to the fore. But up to 1,000, I reckon you could play this codex quite comfortably on its own. But that's not really what it's designed for. For me, this codex was designed to be the companion every Imperial player needs to have with them for their own armies. Now, I think this for two reasons. The first, this codex is the most up-to-date source for wills for the various assassins that the Imperial forces have access to. Now, the assassins are very popular amongst the Imperium lists, some admittedly far more popular than others. The Vindica's by far and away the leader in this, probably followed by the Evaser. Now after the assassins, the second reason is the field Inquisitors themselves. Now, Inquisitors used to fill the niche of cheapish characters that offered various wills buffs that you could put in, say, more lower leadership Imperium armies or Imperium armies that could, say, benefit from what Inquisitors brought to the table. So, more often than not, you'd probably see them in Astra Militarum lists, or if you're an old sod like me who's been in the hobby for a long time, Imperial Guard, maybe in Sisters of Battle lists, sometimes maybe even in Grey Knight lists if you're playing a more Ordo Malleus themed flavour of Grey Knight. But those are the two of the main drawing points. Now, there are other things in here. For a start, if you're a Deathwatch player, this is where the Deathwatch live now. All 4 datasheets that survived. So, what are the datasheets that survived? Well, you have Captain Artemis, you have the Watchmaster, you have your Deathwatch kill team, which has changed from the days where you could have a Terminator in it offering its benefits, a bike in it offering its benefits, and so on. The kill teams are now pretty much power armoured Marines, and in order to get access to special ammo, you need to use the Ordo Xenos detachment within the book. The detachments, by the way, I'll be covering in another video. And exclusive to that detachment, you have the 4th datasheet surviving from the Deathwatch, which is the Corvus Blackstar. Now, you can only use the Corvus in a pure Imperial Agents Ordo Xenos detachment list. So, how does fitting data slates from this book into your regular Imperial army work? Well, a lot of that depends on the size of game you're playing. Now, 40k is the point values can vary from going up from incursion, but they fall into what GW have as 3 brackets. Now, you have incursion, which is your games round about the 1,000 point mark. Now, in those games, you can take 1 character, so that's an Inquisitor, an Assassin. There's the Navigator in there, which has a very tasty ability, which I may go over in another video, and the Rogue Trader. So those are your characters to pick from. Now, when I mention Inquisitors, there's 3 named Inquisitors in here as well, 1 for each order. So you've got Inquisitor Cortez for the Ordo Malleus, Inquisitor Greyfax for the Ordo Hereticus, and Inquisitor Draxus for the Ordo Xenos. You can then take one retinue unit. Now, what falls into the retinue unit bracket? Well, this is things like your Void Men-at-Arms, your Void Breachers, your Flavors of Adeptus Arbites, your Inquisitorial retinues, that sort of thing. They fall into the retinue category. And then you have your requisitioned units. Now, the requisitioned units represent the militant arms for each of the orders. So, for the Ordo Xenos, like we've mentioned not too long ago, you have the Death Watch. For the Ordo Hereticus, you have representation from the Adeptus Sororitas, or Sisters of Battle. So you can take a regular Sisters of Battle squad, and the Immolator is also present. For the Ordo Malleus, you have Grey Knight Terminators. So you can take one from that little section. And that is in incursion games. Now, if we go to the next level, Strike Force, you can take 2 characters from what I've just mentioned, 2 retinue units, and again 1 requisition. Now, Strike Force games, if we're talking Strike Force, is pretty much your communal garden size game of 40k. So, when you see battle reports online, or if you're reading them in White Dwarf or watching them on Warhammer Plus or whatever, 99 times out of 100, if they're playing 40k, it'll be a Strike Force size game. Then we go to Onslaught, which is the higher level games, which is generally around about 3,000 points plus. You can take 3 characters, 3 retinue units, and 2 requisitions. Now, again, like I said, with the requisitioned units, if you're taking Ordo Xenos, you can't take the Corvus Blackstar, because that is exclusive to the Ordo Xenos detachment, and therefore exclusive to Imperial Agents forces. So, let's dive more into the Assassins. Well, yes, they're characters, so naturally you're limited by what you can take depending on the size game you're playing. They are also epic heroes, so you can't take 2 of the same assassin, because that would cause all sorts of shenanigans. Now, the assassins have some new tricks. The Vindicator has a trick that will be especially popular, and the fact that he now laughs in the face of lone operative. Yep, you don't have that layer of protection anymore when there's a Vindicator around. If you're a lone operative and a Vindicator wants to snipe your head off, he can now do so. The other assassins are pretty much the same, really, from 9th edition. The big change, as I say, comes with the Vindicator and the fact that he can just laugh in the face of lone operatives. And then, we have the retinue units. Now, personally, being an Adeptus Custode player, I will, for thematic reasons, be using a lot of Adeptus Arbites in this role. Now, the Adeptus Arbites are basically the elite of the Imperium police force, if you like. Basically, think Judge Dredd with an even crankier attitude. And you have the Void Men-at-Arms, which are basically your naval crews, which fits into the 4th detachment. Now, again, I will be covering the detachments in another video. On top of doing a video about the Navigator, I'll also be doing one going over the Inquisitor data slate in itself. So, what do I think about this Codex overall? Well, it's like I said, it's kind of the companion codex that Imperium players will want for certain things. It's nice. You can bring more stuff to the party than just say an Inquisitor on their own or just an assassin. The fact you can bring other things I think is very nice. But as a standalone thing, it'll be good for thematic games, thematic small games. But like I say, I think over 1,000 points they may struggle, but that's just my thoughts overall on it. So, what do you guys think? If you're an Imperium player, will you be looking into getting a copy of Codex Imperial Agents, or do you already have one? As always, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, and until the next video, I shall catch you later. Bye.